Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. And this is the weekly forecast. We're giving you the keys to having a successful week. It's freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer. My name is Donald Patak. There's my email information if you have any questions. Copyrighted by me, standard YouTube copyright rules. And the keys to the reading. How do you understand what I'm reading here? I use a form of sidereal or constellational astrology. Simply put, that means astrology by the visible sky. Tropical astrology fixes the sky to the seasons. So no matter what on the spring equinox, it's always going to be Aries. I read the visible sky. So the way my programs and my forecasting program is set up, if you go outside and I tell you that the sun is in Cancer right now, and you go check with an astrologer, they're going to say, yeah, this, or not astrologer, an astronomer. Well, I'm getting notifications on my tablet. You check with an astronomer, they're going to say, yeah, the sun is in Cancer. So it's astrology by the visible sky. I use the natural size of the constellations. There are astrologers who make each constellation 30 degrees. In reality, Virgo, none of them are 30 degrees. Virgo, for example, is just under 50 degrees versus Aries is Aries, Cancer, Scorpio, Libra. They're all under 25. So the constellations vary in sizes. Varying, that means they're the lessons that they have to offer, varying, various times to learn them. I use astrological midpoints. If you look at the boundaries, if you look at an astrological map and you see the boundaries, you see the boundaries that are drawn, those are drawn by the IAU, and that's astronomers, and they really don't care about astronomy, honestly. Um, so those boundaries appear to be randomly drawn to me, in my opinion. Athens Shimenti came up with a system called midpoints, where he looked at the zodiac belt, the last bright star of constellation A, the first bright star of constellation B, and did some geometry to determine what was the halfway point. Use them. I like them. I'm comfortable with them. I think they work quite well. In ancient times, there was a 13-month calendar, and there was a 13th astrological sign, and it's called a fucus. It's known as the wounded healer. In your chart, where you have a fucus is where you have a wound that you came here to heal, so that you can heal others who have similar wounds to you. And what I'm reading are the weekly transits. These are the universal lessons that everyone is learning. So if it's hard for you, it's probably hard for other people as well. I interpret using what's called evolutionary astrology, which means that these are lessons to learn. Excuse me. When I first started doing astrology, it was like, this is going to happen to you and deal with it. Versus this is each planet, each signs, these are teachers and they have lessons to offer, and you have freedom of choice. You can choose to have a positive outcome for the lesson, or you can choose to pursue the negative path. It's your choice. Okay, kid, come on, get on my lap. Our cat commercial this week is Kit. She is insisting on sitting on me all the time. This is your kitten commercial. She's a rather big kitten, but yeah. Here we go. Let her get back on my lap and take a nap. So sorry about that. But these are lessons to learn, and you have freedom of choice. You can choose. Do you want to learn, have the positive outcome, or do you want to chase the shadows? Your choice. Dates are based on the Eastern U.S. time zone. I'm outside of Buffalo, New York, so all my dates are based on that. I don't even know what daylight savings time is anymore. What are you doing? So whatever my current calendar is and my current time is, that's what it's based on. And I was asked this. I do want to explain. I'm using 1 degree of the planets being exact. Planets have orbs or spheres of influence that determines like how far they can go out. If I use their actual spheres of influence, this reading would be incredibly long, even on a simple week. So by limiting it to just 1 degree, it's when these planets are going exact, when these transits are going exact, and you're most likely to notice it. Some of these you will feel you'll feel the effects before and after a long time because of the power, but these are when the lessons are like most exact and most precise. And this is the weekly transit report for July 29th through August 4th, 2024. Um, the moon is not as active as this makes it look. It begins the week in Aries, but it very quickly changes over to Taurus Monday morning. So I could very easily say Taurus through Leo, but it does begin actually in Aries. And it doesn't really enter Leo until late Sunday afternoon, just before dinner time over here. So, but nonetheless, it goes Aries through Leo, a little deceptive. We do have a new moon this week in Cancer on Sunday, so learning self-nurturing and self-care for both for your core identity and ego and your soul, your emotional needs. So there's that. Active this week. It's not as busy a week as some other weeks have been, but what is happening is powerful. We have Sun and Mars are both working with the nodes of the moon. And so this is an opportunity for deep transformation and deep change. Venus is active working with Chiron, healing, and Uranus, individuality, so learning those lessons. We have a power transit that, quite honestly, we're going to be living with pretty much for the rest of this year. The two slow movers of the solar system, Neptune and Pluto, are in a sextile, which is an interest. Just to keep it simple here, it's about spiritual transformation. And what makes us, what makes this very interesting is that Pluto is actually going to move back into Sagittarius during this transit. And that's going to happen either next week or the week after. I can't remember off the top of my head. I did look at it. But Pluto is going to transit back into Sagittarius and have you take a deep look at your belief systems. But right now it's in Capricorn. So we'll get to that. And retrograde. Welcome to retrograde season, a time of deep reflection. Adding to this collection is this week Mercury, which will go to about the end of August. And we have Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, and Chiron also in retrograde. So Saturn, self-discipline, Neptune, spirituality, Pluto, transformation, and Chiron, healing. Asking, are you learning these lessons? Okay, let me pull this down. And this is our overview for the week. Again, the transits are steady all week. I mean, we do get this ending from last week, and then we pick up with, and they happen nicely spaced out, relatively even. So it's not like you're going to should really feel overwhelmed or anything. Even the nodes of the moon, when those are happening, there's very, very minor overlap there. So it's an even energy this week, really a powerful week for transformation because of the Sun and Mars working with the nodes of the moon. But otherwise, my tablet going out there. Otherwise, very even energy. It should ideally it will flow rather smoothly. We do have a lot of trines and sextiles, which is nice. One square, which can be challenging, but if you work it right, it's about building strength. And we do have the new moon on Sunday. That will happen that'll happen Sunday morning. Here we go. Put myself over here. All right. But we do this comes from Saturday, but we begin Monday morning with the moon in Aries, and this is in the waning or releasing cycle. So I'm telling people what I've been telling people. I was at an expo today up in Williamsville. The Earth Spirit Expo was good time, good experience. My printer still didn't want to work. It worked once. And then decided I'm done and went on strike. But this is about releasing fears. And by releasing your fears, you can develop courage by releasing your fears. So that's the lesson here is learning to release your emotional fears and that'll help you and help you find courage and help you to learn to be assertive. Um, yeah, get my notes here. Be careful of falling into fear because the moon falling into fear in Aries either can come out as total cowardice, the cowardly lionish, or it can come out as just violent anger. So be very careful. That's the shadow. It's the shadow of Aries is fear, and it's just how is it expressed? Is it expressed as cowardice or violence? So be careful with that. Ideally, you're learning to release the fears. Um, this is actually a little, yeah, I'll go with this way. This is the will be over. We have the sun in a sextile to Mars. So ideally you're finding the sun in a sextile to Mars is your identity is finding courage and finding interest in developing courage and developing strength. And then Taurus, what this means is taking and sun in hold on a second. I rehearsed this so much better. Sun in Cancer is learning to nurture and care for your core identity and your personality and your ego. And yes, you came here to have a healthy ego. Look at your sun sign. How can nurturing a healthy expression of that be healing? Um, and Taurus is finding Mars and Taurus is finding the courage to be peaceful and find stability. So how can finding peace and stability be nurturing and healing for yourself? That's what I'm going to call the high road there. The shadow of this can be Sun in Cancer can play the victim or be taking care of everybody else and ignoring themselves. And Taurus and Mars in Taurus, it can be either totally lazy or the proverbial bull in the china shop, honestly. Um, be careful of playing the victim or becoming a bully, cause you to lose dignity in your own eyes and in the eyes of other people. Also, avoid being vindictive and using force to try to achieve your aims. That's the other shadow here. Trying to force people to do things and to take care of you, bad idea. So, and that'll be over early on Monday in Eastern time zone, but that ends Monday. And then this glorious, wonderful Neptune in a sextile to Pluto. And this is retrograde, so it is reflection. So reflecting on spirituality and how is that helping you to transform. Neptune in Pisces, don't just do something, sit there. So this is how are your spiritual practices helping you do the work of, and Capricorn is about building integrity. How is your spiritual practices helping you transform your integrity and your character? Like I say, during this transit, Pluto will go back into Sagittarius, which will be evaluating your belief systems, but right now it's in Capricorn. Reflect on your spiritual practices, not religion. Religion is man's rules. Spirituality is your own personal connection to the divine. How is that helping you transform your character? Reflect on that. You know, like I say, that ends in December. All right, now let's get down to business. On Monday, the moon enters Taurus emotionally. Ideally, you're finding what the moon in Taurus is about finding peace and stability, but this is again, we're in that waning cycle. We're moving towards the new moon. So you're releasing the things that do not bring you peace or are not bringing you stability in your life. So it's about learning to release those things. And by releasing them, you will be able to find what does bring you peace and stability. So that's the core lesson here. I'm going to focus on that. So release whatever brings stress into your life so that you can find calm and peace. Check and make sure you're taking peace breaks. Can you take a momentary break in your day and just check in with yourself, see how you're feeling? and just get yourself realigned and grounded. That'd be very important. Being emotionally grounded during this time and learning how to do that can be very important. Shadow, be careful of being stubborn and refusing to change or let go of the past. Just because you always did something some way doesn't mean it's good, you know. Uh, Also, be careful of becoming overly focused on the material world. We're spiritual beings having a physical experience, and yes, Taurus can be about the material world. Be careful of focusing so much on the material world that you ignore your spiritual side, um, your animal nature, so to speak. There we go. And other one that happens, I have this out of order in my blog. My bad. Venus and Venus and Leo is in a trine to Chiron and Pisces. Trine is an easy energy. A little bit goes in, a little effort goes a long way to producing success. So really quickly, first take, you have Venus in a trine to Chiron. This is about healing relationships. Venus can also be about your about how you work with others. It can also be about your creativity. So healing your relationships, healing your creativity. Venus in Leo likes to be appreciated. How are you being appreciated in your relationships with others? Um, with Chiron being healing, being retrograde, this is about healing. And in Pisces, Chiron in Pisces is about releasing the wounds and releasing and being able. It's being able to see the wounds from a higher perspective so that you can release them. And the question for Chiron and Pisces, from to me, is: are you able to see the wounds from a different perspective and being able to release it? And how is this affecting your relationship? So are you releasing the wounds so that you can improve yourself in your relationships and be appreciated by people? Or are you releasing the wounds that are holding you back in your creativity? Let's see. Yeah, my notes here say release stress in your life by healing your relationships. Reflect how the wounds have held them back. Learn to practice forgiveness and know that mistakes can be seen from different perspectives. You can learn from mistakes. Make sure you do that. Reflection can be your powerful teacher. And be able to accept honest feedback and help from others. That's something very important here. Are you able to accept that feedback from others? The shadow, Venus in Leo. Everybody, look at me. The demand performance. Yeah. And Chiron and Pisces can be trying to numb the pain of the wounds, deny that the wounds even exist. Pisces can be about denial and escapism and fantasy and trying to numb the pain. So, are you trying to numb the pain of bad relationships? Are people not appreciating you? Are you trying to force people to appreciate you and that is causing wounds? Uh, and so let's see, what do I have here? Yeah, becoming indignant and refusing to reach out and learning how to heal can cause greater wounding. Posturing and posing is not the same as healing. So playing the victim out on the stage is just not going to be good here. So reflect and how have your relationships, been hurt, and how can healing them, actually be a good thing, a good experience. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's late. I'll be blogging on that one, so I'm sure more will come to me. Um, you're going to see this same slide twice, just modified, once for the north node, once for the south node, because the south and north node are always in opposition. So when you're working with one, you're working with the other. The question: which one are you starting with? So the sun here is your core identity, is in a sextile to the south node in Virgo. So the sun in Cancer, we talked about that being healing and nurturing. That was an interesting noise. Sextile is an excitement or interest. And the south node in Virgo is I always go to the shadow for the south node because it's how you hold yourself back. And in Virgo, it's unrealistic expectations, crippling self-criticism. So this is a releasing movement. This is waning. So we're moving towards the south node. So we're releasing. So the excitement or the interest here can be, how is releasing unrealistic expectations? How can that be nurturing and healing of yourself? So let's see, what do I have here? Release what brings stress into your life so that you can calm down and find peace. Also healing. Check to see when you need to take peace breaks in your day. Oh man, that's Taurus. My bad. Next one. Uh, watch out for unrealistic expectations. Pay attention to your moods. What are they really telling you? Be very important here. And why are you being and what's causing the moody, these unrealistic expectations that you're holding yourself to? That's gonna be very important. Be careful of being defensive or trying to hide. Also, be careful of dramatic overstatements about the past, the good old days. Release all that, let it go, because that can actually be bringing stress into your life. And I do like to point, like I always say, that South Node in Virgo is about unrealistic expectations. The past was never as good as we claim it was. I'm a history major. The fifth, we call everybody looks at the 50s as a happy time in America, and if you actually peel back the veneer, it wasn't. So this is actually fairly quick. And on Wednesday, 31st, Sun in Cancer is in a trine to the North Node in Pisces. So this is again nurturing your core identity and healing it, taking care of it. And the North Node in Pisces, Pisces is about transcendence and seeing things from a higher perspective. So how is gaining a higher perspective? And this can be done through your spiritual practices, meditation, prayer, however you connect to the divine. This also can be about Pisces can also be about being alone. So that can actually be nurturing sometimes. But how are those types of behaviors? How is being able to maybe see the wounds from a different perspective? How can that be help you nurture them, take care of them, and heal them? Let's see, what do I have here in my notes? Take time to bring together healing and transcendence. So yeah, seeing life from a different point of view. This can provide moments of inspiration and hope and healing for the future. And the shadow of this, the sun in Cancer can play the victim quite well and be very defensive and invisible. Pisces can be about numbing pain and trying to escape and hide and being in total denial. So be careful of slipping into defensiveness or avoiding healing by living in a fantasy or becoming a self-styled guru too. Playing the martyr there. Playing the martyr is actually very appropriate here. But yeah, I'm gonna go with that. And then we have the moon entering Gemini as well. And this is emotional curiosity. And again, we're still in that waning. So release this idea that you do know everything and stand back and ask, what is it that you need to learn? And what are you curious about? And learning to ask those questions. And that's going to be important here. So let go of the idea that you know it all and accept that new information is needed. Be open to new experiences and ideas. I have pay attention to omens as well. They can happen at this time. Uh, Information can come from a variety of resources and modalities. Be open to them and pay attention to them. The shadow moon can be very moody. In Gemini, words, you can is defending itself against learning, because you think you know it all or you can't learn. And words that, whether it's verbal or mental chatter, is used as a defense against learning. So watch out for that. Watch out for that chatter. What's the purpose of it? Also, be careful of multitasking and getting nothing done, or becoming argumentative and avoiding new ideas and information. And whether you're actually saying it out loud or it's like self-talk, that argumentative self-talk can be very so destructive. So do pay attention to that. And on Thursday, here we go. Venus again. Venus in Leo in square to Uranus in Taurus. So Venus is about relationships, working with others, being receptive, etc. And in a square or challenge to Uranus is being authentic. And squares are challenges, but if you work through them, they build strength. And my favorite example here is the pyramids. Everybody thinks pyramids are strong because they're pyramid, because of the triangular shape. If you actually get up close, they're built on squares, and it's that tension that gives them their strength. So here's the challenge of being your authentic self. Um, let's add to this Venus in Leo in a challenge, being in a square in a challenge to Uranus in Taurus. Finding strength and calm and peace in being authentic. And the challenge there is the challenge is being appreciated for being your authentic self, in spite of what people try to push you into. What do you see what I have here? Yeah. Learn to be at peace and find strength for being your authentic self in public and earn appreciation for it. Earning appreciation for being your authentic self can be very important. Accept that challenge. Go for being real and accept the praise and appreciation you receive for being the real you. Look to others who express themselves successfully for inspiration and help. There are other people who do this very successfully. In spite of all the worldly pressures, they are who they are, and people look up to them and respect them for that. So those can be great and powerful teachers for you. The shadow, Venus in Leo, it's the demand performance. Excuse me, people, I just walked into the room. Pay attention to me. And Uranus can be either a total sellout and try to conform and fit in, square peg and round hole, or it can be wildly eccentric and stick out like a sore thumb with the intention of getting a reaction. My favorite example of that is you get that person who gets the mohawk and then dyes it those bright colors just to have people like, look at that guy. Negative attention is better than no attention. So the shadow here is caving into the pressure and trying to fit in, thinking that's going to get you appreciated, or trying to stick out like a sore thumb and just get a reaction from people. And under that, that's the hard road, and that's not going to lead to success. It's going to lead to a crushing defeat. And I tell people, nobody likes a phony. You can smell them a mile away, and people will see it for that. Friday, we begin our. Both of these happen on Friday. Mars will be both trine and sextile to the nodes. So both of these are going to happen today. So I'm going to cover them one at a time. Mars is first in a sextile to the North Node in Pisces. So Mars in Taurus is having the strength to find peace and stability. You really want to understand Mars and Taurus, read the story of Ferdinand the Bull. Go to your public library. It's in the children's section. It's won awards. It's an amazing book, but I think it tells the story of Mars in Taurus. Having that strength to be at peace with yourself in the middle while the world around you is going crazy. And again, the North Node in Pisces is being able to see things from a higher perspective, a different perspective. It's your spiritual practices, meditation, and this is sextile is an interest. So how can your spiritual practices and seeing things from a higher perspective give you strength and help you to find peace and stability in your life? That can be an awesome lesson. So let's see, what do I have here? Yeah, defend your ability to heal and release the wounds to them. Why do I? That's weird. Yeah, that makes sense, sort of. I'm gonna skip that part. Rewrite that. Defend your ability to practice your spirituality and practice your moments of peace. And it doesn't have to be outlandish. It can be done quietly. Can't tell you the number of times where I did just a quick 1 minute long meditation at my desk at work. People thought I was reading email. Nope. Sitting there just doing a quiet meditation, and it went over well. There's all sorts of different ways of practicing it. Expect to find opportunities to practice and see results from taking action and from seeing those different perspectives. And Mars is about taking action and knowing that this can help build strength and stability in your life. So do take those times for those spirit breaks. And like I say, they don't have to stick out. The shadow here is falling into fear and letting that guide you into a realm of fantasy. Um, it can be powerfully deceptive. Um, Mars in Taurus can also be the proverbial bull in a china shop and cause great damage. So be careful of that, you know, and then trying to deny it happened or try to numb the pain and escape it doesn't work. And let's go to the other side here. And again, Mars in Taurus is in a trine to the South Node in Virgo. So finding peace and stability by releasing. And again, this is actually a releasing trine. So a little bit goes a long way here by releasing South Node in Virgo, unrealistic expectations, crippling self-criticism, perfectionist attitudes. Um, so yeah, learning to do that can actually be very healing, very powerful, and can help to provide peace and stability in your life. So having the strength and courage to do that can bring, and release those unrealistic expectations and that crippling self-criticism can bring peace and stability in your life. And so having the courage to do that, the shadow is trying to hang on to that. And falling deeper into it because this is what I've always done. This is the way I've always been. Why do I have to change? And it's refusing to make that change. And that can actually drag you down further. Be mindful of the idea somehow that past was better than it was. It never was. Glorifying the past can mean reliving something that didn't happen the way you remember it. So this is Taurus can be stuck in a rut, and that's the shadow here, is getting stuck in the rut of these old behaviors and refusing to change. And how do you deal with the pain? You try to numb it, Pisces. So there's that. Saturday, Moon enters Cancer. So this is about emotional self-care and nurturing your emotional self. So let go of what doesn't have you feeling secure or is no longer nurturing to you. Um, it's time to be open to healing and self-care. So, learning how to heal yourself or being open to other healers and letting them help you heal. Be a very powerful time for that. This can result in powerful emotional healing. The shadow, moon, moody, Cancer can be defensive and snippy, or Cancer can be about taking care of other people, smothering, so to speak. So be careful of playing the victim, whining about your wounds, or taking care of everybody else's needs and ignoring your own. That can be very damaging as well. This leads us to Sunday, new moon in Cancer, which is the sun and the moon conjunct. In the Eastern time zone, this will happen right before sunrise. So sun conjunct moon in Cancer, nurturing and self-care for your emotional self and your core identity and your ego, your personality, whatever you want to call it. The spotlight here is on self-care for all of that and and that is going to be the theme for this lunar month. How is what you're doing helping with the theme of self-nurturing and self-care? Uh, Take time to listen to yourself and what your actual needs are at this moment. Quiet time alone can be very beneficial in this journey of self-care and healing. So Cancer Cancer, the crab, needs to pull itself into its shell and pull away from the world. That can be very nurturing and healing. So, and this is happening on Sunday, usually the day of rest. So taking time to rest can be very nurturing and self-caring. So do that. Little pampering can be a good thing. The shadow, well, you've got the sun here, an out of control ego, and combine that with the moodiness of the moon and with a defensive Cancer, and you've got the Cancer, the crab has claws, and you can cause some serious damage wounding people and wounding yourself. Or the sun can be a dark star that refuses to shine and hide. Moon can still be moody and emotional, but trying to hide that and pull away and be invisible and sulking alone in a corner. Nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. I guess I'm going to go eat worms. That's not a theme song for your life. But that's the shadow here, pulling back, being invisible, not shining, not taking care of yourself. Be careful of going through the motions or becoming overly defensive. This can lead to feeling more tired and exhausted, or becoming invisible in an attempt to avoid any more pain. It can lead to a different kind of hurt. So that's pretty yeah, that's that. New moon in Cancer. And the next thing that happens, Mercury in Leo moves station retrograde. Our retrograde collection is getting bigger by the week. And let's remember, Mercury is about learning and communication. Leo is about self-expression, earning appreciation, being willing to be vulnerable so that you can be appreciated. So the only way I say this a lot, the only way the lion's the king of the jungle is if he roars. So if he's not roaring, why not? So Mercury retrograde, reflection. So reflect on what you're communicating and learning. Are you speaking up and communicating clearly when you need to? And are you learning and sharing the information that interests you? And are you sharing it in a way that interests other people and draws them in? I also have here, are you being interesting and transformative? I have that in quotes because I was reading some of my notes about it. That's from one of the Stephen Forrest books. Like, yeah, I like that because I think that's important. Is what you're sharing interesting and informative to people? Because Mercury and Leo can get a person into a corner and trap them there and start talking and talking. And I've seen this happen all too many times. And I pity the victim, the person that gets cornered and stuck and listening to this person carrying on and on and on like a drone. The shadow here of Mercury is just endlessly talking and not saying anything of any value, which is not going to earn you appreciation. It's just being noisy, a clanging cymbal. Mercury can also be insincere, giving false praise. It's insincere, so that like that. But let me look at my notes here and check to see what you've been. Are you trying to do it when you communicate? Are you trying to impress rather than inform? Oh, look at how smart I am. Versus informing and educating the other person and leaving them feeling like they learned something. Playing style over substance, playing a phony intellectual. Oh, I am so smart. Look at all this stuff I know. And trying to please the crowd, trying to here's this big crowd of people. What do I say so that these people notice me and get a response from them? That's a disaster. Or talking to fill empty, awkward space and silence by engaging in mindless chatter. Also, the other shadow of Mercury, I don't have this in my notes, but this just popped in mind, is not willing to share it all. The other shadow of Mercury is, and this is the cowardly lion, the lion that doesn't want to roar, is doubting your own intelligence and doubting your ability to communicate. And if you're doubting it too much and you're not sharing it, you're not able to be appreciated. I don't know. So reflect, if that's the situation there, reflect. Why do you doubt yourself? That can be very damaging. And Sunday afternoon, late Sunday afternoon, the moon enters Leo. So yeah, we have the new moon in the morning, and immediately it jumps into Leo. So and this is a waxing, so this is building, is a building energy here. So accept the opportunity to be seen and express yourself. How can that be? Let's tie this to the new moon. The new moon is about nurturing and caring for yourself. How is being expressive, nurturing and caring for yourself? Can it be? So accept the opportunity to be seen and express yourself. And learn how to accept attention in a positive way. And the moon is about your emotions and your soul and sharing that. And there are ways to share that positively and have people really appreciate you for your honesty in what you're doing. Um, we all know the moon can be moody, and boy, can Leo. We all know the shadow of Leo. Um, Again, playing to the crowd, style over substance, being fake, doing anything to have people see you, acting up and acting out, or trying to hide and not be seen. That's the other shadow. It's all empty, and the feelings can become fleeting. Be careful of playing to the crowd or settling for style over substance, or not sharing, or not wanting to be seen at all. It's all empty. Feelings become fleeting, and they just run away. And they, like, yeah, I did that, and no, it didn't feel real, and people didn't appreciate me, and they like me even less. So that's the shadow there. All right. So those are our transits for the week. Um, Special event this Wednesday is a special live on, I think it's on Facebook and YouTube. My friend Dr. Danny, who is a doctor, she actually is a doula, who practices astrology, natal astrology. So she specializes in Venus as well. Asked me to teach a course on the nodes of the moon because, as an evolutionary astrologer, I really take interest in the nodes of the moon because it's your journey of growth and you becoming the highest version of yourself. Um, and nodes of the moon is also how I read your past life and how you heal those wounds. So I was asked to teach how we read the nodes of the moon and the birth chart and as transits. So she asked me to do that. That course will be starting August 8th. Um, on the 29th, 7:30 Eastern time, should put that in here, live on Facebook and YouTube will be a live interview between Dr. Danny and myself. And if I'm understanding right, there will be the opportunity to field questions using the software and whatever that she's doing. She'll be the moderator of that. But we'll be talking about the course, what you're going to learn, and other things that come up about the nodes, and people I think should be able to ask questions on that. Follow me on social media. I'm Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. All these are corporations that are making billions of dollars off of your data and not giving you very much, if any, of it. There's a news station out there. It's Digital Soul Space. It's free. If you want to donate to help support the cause and support the site, all your data is private on here. Even if the moderators want to email you, the hoops they have to jump through just to get your email are, like I've been told, very challenging. Um, but it's a very much a troll-free zone. I don't recall seeing any spam or harassment on it. And it's not just about astrology. There's crystals, tarot decks, oracles. Um, People are showing their arts and crafts on their wall. There's a lot of incredible stuff, a lot of different modalities, speech or spiritual music. I know there's a musician on there. There's just so much. It's really interesting, and it's fun to be on. And let's go to the site thingy here. Still updating and working on this, but my website, here it is, and this is where you can get a quick 6 reading. Want to see how your chart is different under constellational astrology or the visible sky? I can do that for you. Um, First set of keys I offer you is understanding your birth chart. It can be a past life reading or a karmic reading because some people don't believe in past lives. It's a one and done. It's the same reading. It's just how I present the information. Quick pick combines the two of them. The second set of keys is understanding the current sky, which is a horoscope. The life cycle, I'm looking at the planets, the outer planets in relationship to their where they are in the birth chart and the information that shares. It's so powerful. The yearly horoscope, I look for the major lessons throughout the year. Quarterly, we boil it down to a 3 month period because there are lessons that are not important enough to be full year, but and over a 3 month period of time, yeah, they are important. So this gets you drills it down even more. And then I do the monthly horoscope as well. And I like to do that by the lunar cycle, new moon to new moon, because that is the natural cycle. If you do want it first of the month to the end of the month, I can do that as well. But my preference is the lunar cycle because that's a natural cycle. And I do offer packages that have a 10% discount built in. You'll get a pop-up asking you to subscribe. If you close that out and say, oh, gee whiz, I really want to subscribe. If you click on subscribe, that takes you to the newsletter. And I send it out once a week, which gives you a summary of the major astrological events of the week, astrological insight, exclusive subscriber-only discounts and offers. And if I do live appearances and events, I just got into 2 last minute. Last week, I was at the Bee Psychic Fair, which was really cool up in Geneseo, and today I was at the Earth Spirit Expo up in I think it was Williamsville, which was really nice. Amherst or Williamsville. If you click on blog, this is where I post my blog. So I do post weekly transits. I like to post. I didn't get it posted today, but I like to post a mini daily horoscope just to give you an idea of what all the energies are in the sky today. And then I like to do what I call my daily deep dive, where I take one transit and I really dig deep into it. So you can see, like, from Saturday, I did a daily horoscope, and my Saturday deep dive was Neptune and Pluto. And if you click on, I believe it's services, this is where you schedule. You can also do it through scheduling. You just got to tweak that a little bit, but this is where you can order. And what you get when you order reading from me, and I'm getting more I do this, and the feedback I get, people are saying, wow, that's powerful. I even shared this at the event today, and people are like, oh, wow, that's amazing. You order a reading from me, first thing I do is I record my interpretation and I share that with you because trying to create a birth chart in 1 hour, even Reader's Digest version, may not be clear. So I like to, and I sometimes I feel like I have to cut things out and important things out. So I like to make sure you're getting all the information. So I make a recording of your chart and the information that you ask for, and I share it with you. So if it's a birth chart, here's your birth chart. This is what you came here to learn. You get a video, you can download, watch it a few times, write down questions, things that you need to know more information about. And then when we're getting together, that actual one-on-one appointment, you're asking me questions where we need to know more information. So this is really you being able to guide the conversation to where you are learning your chart deeper and better. And I'm getting such positive feedback on that. It's amazing. So slideshow, current slide. So there we go. So I'd like to thank you for watching this. No headache this week, not getting over a headache. I'm feeling much better. Thank you everybody for the thoughts and prayers and etc. So if you do like this, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter, and remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. Thank you very much. Have the best possible week, and I look forward to seeing everybody and sharing with you next week.